this isn't exactly the most exciting season finale in the world, but holy hell, this year was exhausting, and I need a break. I thought about doing the Lorax this year to be in time for that new Grinch movie. But then I thought, screw that, I'll save it for next year. So instead, let's go back into the world of old school live-action Disney films, with lots of monkeys. Yes, this movie is seriously titled Monkeys Go Home. Kinda like that one catchphrase Carl Winslow says to Urkel. This one was brought to us by Andrew McLaglen, who mostly specialized in Western and adventure films like Gun the Man Down or McLintock, many of whom used John Wayne, the most overused actor for Westerns in history. Not a knock to his talent or anything, but geez, I can't tell you how many films he's been in. Anyway, as far as Andrew's work goes, this seems to be the only film he's done with Walt Disney Productions. And while it seems like he's done comedies before, I can't imagine what having chimps will do for him. But hey, Dean Jones is in this movie, and he'll be a major player come next year's marathon of Herbie films. So might as well see what new spore of madness I've uncovered. So, monkeys, go home! There's a screen I remember seeing a lot. So since this was made in 1967, 1 year before The Love Bug, naturally the film quality is what I expect it to be. Kinda gritty, but those far shots look neat. So this is apparently set in France, with Dean Jones playing our main character, Henry Dussard, who has apparently inherited an olive farm and is intending to work with it, despite what Emile has to say.
They are worthless.
Worthless?
The cost of labor, monsieur. The olives could never support you.
Now wait. My mother used to live in this town. She always told me there was money in olives.
Times change, monsieur. The world is watching its weight. Olive oil is out of fashion. Do yourself a favor and reconsider.
You almost had me fooled there for a minute. Real estate pitch in southern France is same as the USA.
Let me play a clip from The Love Bug for a moment.
You dizzy?
Oh, no. There's a slight racking pain in my head here.
Oh, well, I think you better sit down.
Well, it's not your fault. I didn't mean to startle you.
Yeah, I don't know why, but I feel like had I not known this was Dean Jones, I would have thought he was someone else, because he sounds so different here. So despite the warnings, he is willing to at least look and see for himself, and it doesn't look too bad. The inside could use a bit of work, but the outside looks beautiful from a distance. He even has his own band of chorus children that visit him. Meet Father Sylvain, played by the late Maurice Chevalier, and much like the first guy, even he says that the olives won't be of much worth if Henry is the only one working here. Cost of labor be high, he should consider a woman to wed and have children.
I just want to make an honest living.
I will pray to Saint Prius for your success, monsieur.
Thank you.
Come and see me, eh?
Thank you, I will.
Quand ton cœur sera triste et noyé dans les peines, admire les étoiles et pouf, tu seras gai.
I wonder if this will somehow involve monkey labor. But I can't imagine that happening in a film made by a guy who uses John Wayne as much as the next guy. But that's exactly the case because, I don't know why, but apparently he does have or knows some chimpanzees. Well, at least this is a case where he may be familiar with the apes instead of just finding them by chance. So unless the title was just meant to be funny, someone has to be annoyed by them to say, "Monkeys, go home!" Otherwise, I don't see it coming from him. Of course, it seems Father has recruited that one woman Henry met at the beginning of the movie, Maria Rizzero, played by the late Zavette Mimiru, who the butcher, Marcel, from earlier, seems to really like.
I'm dying for love of you, Maria. See how my hand shakes. For a butcher, this is dangerous.
Uncomfortably so. And it seems she is the eldest sibling of those children from earlier. I guess Father is okay with giving Henry free child labor.
Sidoni, come here. take that. There we go. Never mind.
Pardon, monsieur?
Never mind cleaning up in here. Everybody outside.
But, monsieur...
No buts. Out, out, out. I just don't like people looking around and cleaning up, that's all.
But I promise, Father Sylvain.
Now, you tell Father Sylvain I appreciate the help, but no thanks. And you tell him for me that when I need little, pickers, I'll supply my own way.
Dude! Free labor! And they were more than willing to help. Don't deny thy neighbor! Maria finds it suspicious that Henry would be hiding his family photos like he's ashamed or something. Well, I don't know how that would make him want to.
Shame, because his children are so ugly.
Maria.
Marius said they look just like little monkeys.
Little monkeys.
Well, that didn't take long. So all of these chimps are girls, and even though they seem to act like chimps in movies tend to do, he isn't too bothered by them. He seems to know how to manage them, I guess. Anyway, it looks like Marcel is going to be our villain, I guess, since he's showing up more often and talking about Henry and his property.
If it is a nursery, then he must be married.
That does not necessarily follow.
Oh, yes, it does, Emile. For an American, it does.
Ha ha! That monkey stole his banana! This is gonna be the whole movie, isn't it? And no, I'm not gonna keep track of their names. They all look too damn alike for me to even remember which chimp is which. So yeah, Maria finds out he's got monkeys in his house. Apparently he bought them from the Air Force and was their trainer for some time to be used for spaceflight before they got out. Maria is surprisingly so fond over them and wants to help take care of them, despite his earlier outburst.
Wait a minute now, look, I have put a lot of time and effort into their education. I'm not about to goof it up.
But, monsieur, I would make them the cutest little outfits.
Now, that is exactly the kind of help I don't want. These are not dolls you play with. They're chimpanzees. As such, they have dignity and they have rights. I'm not about to let somebody come in and turn them into clowns or glamour girls or anything except plain, simple, hardworking chimps. You understand?
Oui, monsieur.
All right.
But I was just thinking, you know, the sun is very hot. And if they're little bonnets, when I take them walking in the village...
You know, for a non-married couple, they sure act like they're already married given how much they argue over how they should appear and all. He asks Maria to keep this a secret so kids or sightseers don't disrupt his activities in teaching the chimps how to pick olives. She of course accepts and says she'll only come by in the evenings since she tends to work in the day. Of course, Marcel and Emile question why he seems to buy bananas by the bunch, so I bet he'll end up breaking the secret before she does.
Hey, come on, time's a-wasted.
Here we are.
Oh, no.
Aren't they sweet?
No, they look ridiculous. Maria, didn't I tell you they were working chimps?
Oui, monsieur, but they are girls and they have feelings.
I don't know whether this is cute or if this is somehow sending the wrong message given their choice in clothing. And what do you know? Emile found the secret. Only took like 3 minutes. We're also only a half hour into the movie already, with at least an hour to go. This movie's going by pretty fast, all things considered, including monkey shenanigans.
Celeste, I'm getting upset.
Stock sounds, because Lord knows if they're really making that themselves. Father finds this hilarious.
Now I know what is meant by American enterprise. Do you realize they could revolutionize the entire olive industry?
Father...
Can you not see these little ladies in every orchard in Provence? Ha! What a vision!
He's got a point there, right, Mr. Burns?
It was the blurst of times, you stupid monkey!
Even he knows the secret will get out at some point, but Henry seems confident he'll have patented this long before then. Of course, Maria scolds him for being such a workaholic and suggests the chimps need more love or companionship, and I guess this is supposed to relate to how much of a loner he is with people.
Why monsieur should be so upset? After all, you men are always right.
Hey, will you stop calling me monsieur? The name's Hank, and I'm not upset.
If you do not want my advice, you may be honest and tell me so.
Hey, don't twist things around that way.
I think he just needs a little lesson from the love bug. Meanwhile, in angry white conservative club meeting...
The American, mesdames et messieurs, who now occupies Mas de la Pousseraco, has imported slaves to undermine the economy of our village. Henri Dussart has brought in monkeys and trained them to pick olives.
So, they're salty over the fact that some guy is using chimp labor? Not like you wanted to work there. You would have just sold the place. Even this guy thinks this is silly.
Pick olives?
They do.
That is very clever.
It is criminal!
It is also very funny.
This is not a laughing matter. These monkeys are about to rob you of your jobs. Take the bread out of your mouth and you laugh.
You know, if this movie was made to make fun of those people who say foreigners were stealing jobs and how they always make a big deal over nothing, I'd totally believe this is how those people would behave in real life. Oh hey, there's the title of the movie right there.
You see what the godless propagandists have done? It's all over town, the same thing.
Who told them about my monkeys?
Oh, who knows? Their spies are everywhere.
Well, why do they pick on me?
They've run out of causes.
Causes?
Without causes, they have no need for slogans. Without slogans, they fade away and they are forgotten.
Well, now I'm convinced. This movie is definitely making fun of conservatives and how it's better to ignore them. If only it were that simple now. Because, of course, Henry has to go and debate his argument for using monkeys for labor, like with how Father says they've always used animals for labor.
Man has trained those animals for tasks he cannot do himself. Can you pull a wagon or give milk? Can you lay an egg?
The Bible says God created the animals for...
Don't try to confuse us with theology. When you train monkeys to do a man's work, you create unemployment. What will become of us when your monkey army takes over? Answer me that!
Dude, there are 4 chimps compared to the hundreds of people living in your village. You're making a big deal over nothing. You're just grouchy that Maria won't go out with you over someone who actually respects her. But it gets dumber.
We'll be hanging in the deep freeze and pigs will be running this butcher shop.
That's a stupid statement.
No more stupid than saying we make a horse pull a cart because a man can't.
That's not stupid, that's a fact.
Aha! Then a horse is putting 6 men out of work because 6 men could very easily pull a wagon.
There you are! Now he wants to harness men to carts.
What?
You have given us a challenge, Tsar. A challenge we cannot ignore.
Good God, this really is Twitter Arguments the movie. Can't come up with a valid explanation to your nonsense? So let's twist the words around. Unfortunately, Henry blames Maria for possibly telling Marcel about all this, and this results in your typical breakup moment. The intense French music is suggesting that something needs to be done, so Father goes after Henry.
I did not think we were the kind to run from a fight.
I'm not running.
No?
No. I'm going to go home, collect my thoughts, and find out where I stand.
You stand in the dead center of local politics, like a target. What you need is the advice of an expert.
You?
Well, religion might not be the best idea for politics, so they think of going to the mayor to see about stopping the hate slogans.
If I do that, they will accuse me of destroying the freedom of the press. I was elected, you see, by all shades of opinion. And I respect the right of everyone to his own beliefs.
What? Okay, seriously, I did not expect this to happen in a movie about monkeys. Here I was just expecting nothing but shenanigans, and not a debate between a guy just wanting to use animal labor and a jackass who thinks this is somehow a hostile takeover of the economy. Since the mayor won't do anything about the slogans, even for defacing property, Henry decides to use the advantage of free speech to do the same exact thing they did. Only have the monkeys be part of it. Any minute now, I'm expecting the anti-monkey squad to be complaining about how they're defacing property, despite doing that themselves because of a double standard that says only they can express free speech. At least the townsfolk seem to like it, meaning that indeed the only people making a big deal over nothing are these two. And it's kind of funny in all honesty. Well, it seems like things are looking up. Just need to patch things up with Maria, but oh look, I think Marcel might be talking with the Mafia now. The Mafia! Over monkeys! So that guy Marcel was speaking to is actually some olive miller who is willing to buy olives from Henry at a high price, but only if it isn't picked by monkeys. Obviously, this is meant to intimidate him into not using his chimps anymore, or else no one will want to buy the olives.
We millers have a gentleman's agreement not to raid the district of another.
You mean I'm bucking a monopoly?
I am sorry, monsieur, but you cannot fight the system. Take my advice. Sell out. Go back to America.
How is it this movie that I suddenly care more for the monkey's sake? At least in being able to work for a fair labor. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm on the monkey's side. These monkey-hating bastards are actually making me pro-monkey. Of course, Henry suggests he use his monkeys to pick olives from all the trees from his farm, and from properties that people in this village are willing to let him pick from at a certain price. So he tells Father to tell everyone in town what he plans to do.
His 4 chimpanzees, who can pick better than 10 measures an hour, are at the disposal, free of charge, of all who want their crops harvested. The olives will be purchased by Monsieur Piastilio at 5 francs a measure.
It's a cheap trick. It's impossible.
Oh, if Monsieur Dussart says it can be done, then I believe him.
5 francs a measure is nothing. I can get you 10.
Including the cost of labor?
Labor comes to 5. That still leaves you a net profit of 5.
Labor comes to 8, my friend. And it leaves only a profit of 2 francs. Now, what do you say? You've heard both offers.
Anyone would be an idiot to turn down such a deal. I have 250 trees, and I go with you, sir. Oui, and I have 100 trees.
What could possibly go wrong?
Did you leave them home alone?
Yeah, the door's locked. Prowlers can't get in, they can't get out.
Well, I'm sure Monsieur knows best.
So I guess he's starting to patch things over with Maria, since they danced the night away, and now suddenly this is looking like a 40s romance film, remastered in color. But of course he says the wrong things like an idiot, and they break up. Again.
Hello? You are Henri Dussart?
Hello, random French person. Apparently this is his cousin, Yolande, and she's played by Yvonne Constant, who starred in stage productions even in the 2000s. And even though it looks like she was in several films, apparently her most memorable one was in this film. I wonder why that is.
You will need it.
I will?
I am going to live here with you.
Incest! No, apparently she claims that because she's related to him that she owns part of the property. Given her last name is Angeli, and he doesn't know anyone with that name, my guess is Marcel put her up to it. And even though everyone in town is aware of the chimps, he has to keep telling her he doesn't have any of them. Like, seriously, if she was even told about this, why bother hiding it? And Maria came back, just so we can have a misunderstanding bit.
Neighbor, Maria, meet, my cousin. Look, I know what you're thinking, and you're wrong.
You do not have to explain it to me, monsieur. I do not care.
Tell her.
Tell her what?
Tell her who you are, what you're doing here.
Oh, that! Dry your tears, chérie. As his cousin, half of this property is mine, so here I am. I am sorry about this, chérie, but of course, it is always better to know the truth before marriage.
You better damn well be joking, because what the hell, Disney? Apparently, he needs to move the monkeys out of the house to prove to her he doesn't have any. I guess if she found out, she may end up kicking them out or something. since if she really was the secondary owner, she might have a say in things. But it's fine, they get them out, and the only thing she sees is a noose. It's funny because she thinks he was going to hang her. Maria says they can stay at her mother's barn, where they fool around before Henry gets annoyed and puts them to bed. But we can't leave yet because we have another romantic scene. Why not? It's only like the third time they had any major bonding in this movie. So the next day, Maria stops by the house where Yolande tries to get information out of her about what was in the house, and all that leads to Maria bringing up a ghost story.
Do not know about your Uncle Anton?
What about him?
But you are family, you must have heard.
We are never very, very close family. What is it I should know?
Well, you will promise not to tell who told you?
I will swear to it.
But it might be too late, because if it turns out this woman is legit, she may and well be able to take his monkeys away from him. So he decides to give up, take his monkeys, and leave for the circus.
I tried to reason with him, but it's of no use.
You can't leave us now?
Maria, I'll drop by for the monkeys.
But Maria hasn't given up yet, it seems, as she goes off to do things on her own. Otherwise, Henry tells a very drunk Yolande the news of him leaving, and she's very afraid of the ghosts that were related to their uncle.
Crying and glowing at the walls, it was terrible.
My.
Well, she's out like a light. Anyway, turns out Maria took the monkeys out of the barn so they can do some late-night olive picking. Nah, I kid. She's actually going to scare the crap out of the lady. She thinks they're the ghosts of the Four Wives. She's so drunk, she can't tell chimps apart from human ghosts. Well, Henry doesn't really inquire too much after this. Instead, Yolande confesses to Father about what she was doing this whole time, and during a lunch meeting with Henry, with Marcel nearby, he pretty much exposes their scheme of using an imposter to try and undercut his olive operations.
With Monsieur Parolis to rob Monsieur Dussart of his property. You lie! You dare to call me a liar before these witnesses when you are guilty of fraud, theft, and bribery?
That's not true. Parolis told me that girl had a legitimate claim. I'm an honest man.
That's what they all say. Also, this probably wouldn't have worked anyway because Emile had a contract saying that the olives had to be picked by monkeys anyway, leading to a silly fight scene.
My produce! Idiot! Where are you going, imbecile?
Imbecile!
Murder, you stupid idiot!
How is it that a movie featuring 4 chimpanzees and a couple of angry white men lead to the angry white men causing a wacky brawl and not due to the chimps? But oops, the monkeys got out of the car. Better round them up before this leads into a crazy climax.
No, Father, no. Spare me. Have mercy.
I have seen the light.
He then bashed his head open like Santa Claus in a Kirk Cameron film. No, he calls for an end to the violence, and soon the wind that he mentioned would cause olives to drop arrives, which means it's time for the monkeys to do their thing.
Hank, darling!
You're just in time. Look.
I have a surprise for you.
You'll have to wait.
Look.
Oh, no.
Isn't he marvelous?
No, not now. They're not supposed to get laid until after the movie is over. So the lesson is, never rely on yourself or a select few. Everyone can pitch in because we're all neighbors who stick together and help each other out in a time of need. Well, that was certainly the strangest monkey movie I've seen yet. It had politics, it had angry white people, and it had one weird way of ending with a pro-community message. I kinda liked it. Much like The Cat from Outer Space, its humor and writing are very dated, but like some of the other live-action Disney films of the time, there is a bit of charm to its style and presentation. It goes in places I wouldn't expect for a monkey movie. It's got an enjoyable cast, and some of the gag humor is pretty fun. I don't know how much of this was influenced by Andrew McLaglen or Walt Disney, as this was his first film to be released after his death in 1966. Because until I see Andrew's other works, which may probably never happen, I won't tell if this is normal or different for him. In any case, this is a pretty harmless movie that just so happens to feature monkeys/apes in a manner that isn't too demeaning or really stereotypical. Like, they don't rely on them the whole movie or anything. It's just about a guy who thought he could succeed in life with just a few animals he owns, but learns that it's okay to ask for help, as that's what a community does. It encourages strength and unity, and that you shouldn't denounce anyone different from you for hateful reasons. Not something you should seek out, but not a bad watch for anyone looking into old Disney films. Well, I was gonna end on a go home skit, but I don't need to, since the monkeys weren't bad here. Instead, I'll just say, thank you all for watching me for this long. Sorry for the abrupt end to Season 5, but I really need a break. So come back December, we'll have Christmas-related videos and Patreon requests. And in January, I'll start Season 6 with Webcomic Month, because the game I want to review next year comes out that very same month. So I'm pushing that review back to February. Either way, it's gonna happen, so here's to more reviews.